Good morning. Happy Lohri, happy Sankranti, and happiness to you, not just for the festivals, but may you have happiness throughout your life. At least that should be your endeavor. Anyway, I thought I'd share another experience with you, and this time it was a very different one. So I had traveled out of the city. I've gone to Bombay, and for the first time in many years, I had the good fortune to have the view of the sea literally in front of me. The hotel which I had taken, I did a little bit of research and then finally found this place. Not a very fancy thing with modern fittings and fancy, kettle tea and kettle and mini bar and all. Nothing. Basic, very basic. One of those old architectures and old housing where the rooms are very big, the furniture is bare minimal, and beds are made out of solid wood. The cupboard, if one was to look at it, would remind you of your school days. Literally, very basic. But what caught my attention was the bathroom. Yeah. Now, in those days, if some of you have been privy to it, the bathrooms were very big. Now, this particular bathroom was also as big as a room. Only thing, it was rectangular with a little bit of an L shape, which I couldn't understand. Why on earth did anyone have to put an L shape which was not used at all? Don't even talk of exhaust system and ventilation. There was none. So anyway, it was an experience for me. The shower. Now we all need to go for a shower, and especially in a humid place, we can't do without it, right? So anyway, this building had about 5 floors and nothing above that. Now ordinarily you would say that on top where the roof is, you'll have the water tank mounted, and because it's at a certain height, there would be pressure of water coming down. But in my case, I was surprised that there was hardly any pressure. In fact, when I opened the shower, it would literally be like a trickle. And I'd say, what on earth is happening? I shut one off, open the hot, open the cold, try and see as much as pressure would come, but there would be no pressure. Literally, there were droplets coming down, and I'm trying to fit myself exactly under that shower. To top it all, the snout or the pipe coming out of the wall with the shower head was very short. So literally, I had to hug the wall so that the water would fall directly on my head. That was very funny, but at the same time, it was a little frustrating. How on earth can you have a shower when there's a trickle and half the time you're hugging the damn wall? It was very funny. The point what I'm trying to make here is that while you would have faced these situations where you go to different places and each place is different. Now, when you go to smaller towns, the facilities also start coming down in terms of standards, quality, and whatever they can give you best to their knowledge, they will give it to you. But the point is, how are we adjusting to these sort of changes? Are we adjusting after accepting that yes, this is what it is? Because you have a choice. Either you accept it or you don't accept it and change. But what if you don't have options? Then what do you do? Now, you can't spend the rest of the 3-4 days that you're in a different place cribbing and crying and fretting. It makes no sense, right? The whole purpose of you going to do whatever work or enjoying yourself on a holiday, it gets defeated. So, how do you accept, adjust, adapt? That is the key point. Now, here I had this situation for 4 days in a row. I had to literally try and figure out how do I make the best of this wonderful situation. Yes, I could open the tap, fill up the bucket, it would take ages to fill up, and all those options were there, but the shower ultimately was the best choice, the best of the worst, if I may use that word. So anyway, I managed. I figured out a way how to mix the cold and hot so that the pressure would be a little more. Couldn't enjoy the hot water, of course, for a long time, because another problem was the instant geyser. I mean, hardly 2 minutes and the water would start getting cold. But again, the point what I'm trying to drive here is, when you have such a situation which is not ideal, which is not to your liking, which is not what you are used to, how do you manage? Now, this is very, very important, friends. Give it a thought. Just think of a situation you've been in. Here I'm taking the example of a shower. It could be anything. It could be a room, it could be a cupboard, it could be a car, it could be anything which is not acceptable to you by your standards, where you actually were pinned against the wall. What would you do? Because the key here is, how do you respond, or do you react to that situation that you are in? And then to what extent do you adapt, and then see what can be done which is best for your situation. Give it a thought. It's worth it. Have a lovely day.